What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. The moment the Charmer structure deck was announced for the OCG, we knew there would be some hype, some translation over into the TCG for highest rarity Charmer stuff, but I had been passing by Rising Rampage like, oh, nothing to see here, it's still 250. I hadn't clicked on it, and when I did, oh, that one's damaged, and we see that a motivated seller in this market is at $316. That's the truth, 316. And then we see also towards 343, 345-ish. And over on eBay, it's way worse for the prismatic. And I call it prismatic for Market Watch for this reason. If you search Starlight, well, what are you going to get on eBay? Well, you get a book, and then you get one listing that combines it with a couple of other cards, which actually is PSA 10. I'm interested to see where this auction does go. You don't get the Apollosa or anything. You actually get a Summon Skull in BCCG, which is kind of the lower grading system, and then you get PSA Storm Dragon's Return in this. So I do want to know what this goes for. One $400 bid, though. That could be like their buddy or something whenever I see an auction like that, so I never trust that too much. A real auction for this at Gem Mint right now is 254, then you see 280, and then 388. So my suggestion for this, for people that are asking me, John, do you think prismatics are overinflated? Yes, I do think they're overinflated for what they are, but to get a specific one, that is 1 out of every 8 cases. That's 96 first edition boxes. And win is highly collectible, and people are hoping that it is now also playable, and they're banking on that. We see Asa is out of Ignition Assault. That's the current set. What happened to win once, you know, her set, Rising Rampage, went off the market from being the current core set? It spiked towards 250. I think Asa is not as popular as Win, but I could see it at 225 and then creeping towards 230 and eventually going out of the market for people collecting this. So I would say get her sooner than later. She is far cheaper on TCG Player, and she's already headed that way on eBay. So if you're in the market for this, please use my TCG Player link in the description down below, supporting the channel directly for the cards you would already be buying if they're even freaking expensive like this, because I really do think she'll be following suit over here. Now, if you want a cheap deal that looks nice, Midnight Dreams has some new playmats up on their site. Queendom of Sweets. I love their stained glass design, and you can use code WhatsGood10 for 10% off of these already really good prices. When I look at this mat, I just love kind of the original design. I love the chibi. This is one of my favorite like anime looks, though. I really like that, and Hoot Cake. So I think this will be really good, and if you're, you know, building this thanks to Duel Overload, I think it's a nice look. Also, with the Alter Art Infinity coming, I wanted to revisit this playmat. The comic book styling of these Cyber Dragons just looks awesome, and this Fluffle mat gets me every time I look at it. I'm like, I just love it. Look at the Fluffle dog. He should have the angry eyebrows for a special edition Midnight Dreams. That being said, do check out the site. It's linked down below, and you can get 10% off while supporting the channel with each sale. Duel Overload. Look, I have an incentive. So, you know when I tell you to wait, I have your best interest. I have an incentive for you guys to spend more money using my TCG Player link in the description down below, because I get a % of each of those sales whenever you use it. I'm telling you to hold off on a lot of these cards, but some of them have already hit my projections for the prices that they were going to land at depending on their printing. So everybody here is gambling, but they're not gambling. They're putting out prices early without opening it to see what's shorted, and this is why. So out of 2 cases, an average MSRP, that's $720, that's 720 cards. Well, instead of $720, vendors that are buying a ton of this get it at a rate of 16.5 per box, and times 24 boxes, 2 cases, that's all they're spending for their 720 cards. They're spending 55 cents a card. So when they sell you something that's going to become bulk for $5 here, every sale helps them so freaking much. And anything they sell above $16.50 gets them a whole box back with 29 other cards for completely free. Think about that big brain play. So Needle Fiber is getting these vendors that much back. And if something's horrendously shorted, so 720 cards is 2 cases, right? Let's say it's divided by the 100 cards. This is the average pull rate without shorting. Horrendous shorting for Konami would be 40% pull rate. That's still almost a full playset per 2 cases. A full freaking playset per 2 cases on the market, like, they're going to be very happy with the prices they're getting now, and they'll take less for these cards. I think Needle Fiber will be towards 35 to 30. A good product still has a card that's worth the MSRP of a single box, and I think Needle Fiber will be that card. Verte Anaconda, vendors are going to clamor over each other's bodies on this one. It's an all-out war. I'm not exaggerating. Remember Dual Power from last year? Duel Overload is very similar, but it's still a different beast with the imports and the reprints that it has. Anaconda is more looked forward towards Dragoon. I think this will spike up later, but for the immediate sales, when we actually have this for a week to two and prices have calmed down, this will be more towards 20 or lower. Union Carrier also, I think these three are interchangeable in what could become the top of the set eventually, one day, by potential, but we're talking about the first 2 weeks of the set release. This also will be down from this price, but I kind of like its price there. Infinite Impermanence is being sold as if it's a short print by my projections. I said if it's shorted, it will be $20. If it's not, 15 towards 12, but more likely 15. So vendors don't have to gamble. At that pull rate of pulling a playset, per their case, they'll gladly take this price. Same with Phantasme. I called this being more towards 15, 18 depending on it. And Celine, I didn't consider being a short. People pointed out I probably underestimated it and that it can be shorted. I probably did a little. If it is shorted, it could be up more towards 8/9. I don't see it sticking at 12 though. Sign Up Mining, if it's shorted, this is kind of what I projected because it's short in the EU, and if it is in USA, I feel like this is where it was going to land. So this is odd for me to see pre-sales like this early on Sign Up Mining. A little bit weird. So if it is shorted, do you think it can go lower than this? That's my question. A lot of pre-salers that are in here are the super high feedback sellers though, that typically honor their sales. So the competition's fierce early, and you actually see the undercutting go even further. Like, TCG player can't keep up with the undercutting. It's happening this early. It's freaking crazy, man. I think this is highly overinflated. Anima kind of replaces what Almirage does because you won't need the downward arrow anymore, but you'll still want this for decks like Invoked for the typing. So, like, he'll still see play. He'll still see where he wants to go, but you only have a week and a half-ish under the old master rule before you no longer need it for its arrow as well. Cyber Emergency, I call these being $10 playsets or lower even, and looks like the pre-sellers agree with me because this is the inflated price. And the one that I kind of raise my eyebrow a lot at is Vistrix was around here somewhere for $5 while I was loading my tab. Is he? Yeah, Raid Raptor Vistrix. Look at this. $5. They're treating it like everything else. One of the pack. I think this might be one of the only mistakes in pre-sales. So if you are pre-ordering, use my TCG player link. That's probably the best deal out there. The Simorg League link also I think is good, but I don't think it'll really stick up there immediately. And also the Madolches. A lot of you guys are scrambling after these cards. They're going to be the Necros of the set. Just trust me on that. Even if they're a little bit short, they're going to be treated like the Necros of the set, I feel like, at $1 to $2. You can still get this sealed. I've been pushing tier 0. The question is, versus the singles you want versus what you can get out of it for trade, do you want to go for a case or the singles? I would not go for individual boxes. I suggest going by the case load or going in on singles and no other approach. Still, if you're supporting your locals or something, that's where you go ahead, you get a box from them, and you also get a Lost Art promo on top. That stonks. Help your locals get something back as well. But if your locals is already sold out of pre-sales, I've heard a lot of you guys have none at your locals, like they've told you they can't get any more. Use code WhatsGood5 to get yourself 5% off of these already low prices. But go for the case or go for nothing at all, in my opinion. Well, the singles. Evenly Matched was not in Duel Overload. I keep wanting to say Dual Power. That's why I'm taking time with my words. It was not in Duel Overload. So you see that it's resting at 30, but it feels like it's spiking. The secret rares are really stable, and it just feels like it's bubbling on the verge of this. I don't see a reprint happening for it before the NAWCQ. You do have 20 reprint slots probably in the Adamantia set, the Secret Slayers, and then you also have reprint slots for the Toon Chaos set, but they're already using Extravagance, so I don't see where this is going to pop up next. Maybe Battles of Legend, but I don't know where we get another reprint of this. I wanted to go over not just what's bubbling into the meta and everything. Rank up Magic's Soul Shave Force is towards $5. This has been happening. It made me look at kind of some other cards as well. I was looking down at Ultimate Falcon. It's still only $2, and I remember this really getting buyout targeted for Waking the Dragon in the past. So many people willing to sell this cheap. I would have my copy sooner than later, if not for Raid Raptor hype, for Waking the Dragon hype. It's just a good card to have that's never had a reprint. Also, I believe there's one other card here. I don't know which tab it is. I'm gambling here. No, Surface is interesting to me, though. We'll get back to that in a bit. Do I still have the tab up? I took the tab down. All right, we're going to go into it. You got a sneak peek. I don't have time to redo today's Market Watch. Cattle Call was brought up in stream, and I posted this on Patreon. It's a really interesting card. It does not properly summon the card, though. Send a face-up monster you control to the graveyard whose original type is Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast. Special summon a monster from your extra deck with the same original type, but it cannot attack, and its effects are negated. I thought this was very interesting for ranking up, and it's treated like bulk with one printing out of Shining Victories. This is a very interesting penny stock to me, and it makes me think a lot with Raid Raptors. Tell me what else you can use this in, and it's just an awesome art as well, Master of Oz and everybody going. Let's go through a lot of the sneak peek stuff I just gave you guys, though. Surface only has 3 printings. It came out in Speed Duels as a super recently too, and just maintains a pretty crazy price. I'd get the Speed Duel version first if I'm looking through, but this is a card that I keep hearing murmured and talk about under the next Master Rule, and it does have applications. You target a level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua, importantly, monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense, so it kind of helps you continue in some stuff. It doesn't have a once per turn clause on it. I do like this card, and there's only 3 printings, and one's locked behind the Speed Duel wall. The Magic Bullets have a couple of spikes happening since we have Caspar and Starfire reprinted. You have Cross Domination and Last Stand spiking. I would suggest going for Max sooner than later. Remember, he's not the easiest card to pull out of Battles of Legend as an ultra rare. I think it was 8 or 10 per case, so you want to have this card sooner than later if you're considering that or the engine at all. Definitely one of the more penny stockish cards that I think people are forgetting because they're going for the older stuff that's harder to get. I remember when Cross Domination was thought like it was going to be short printed, they tried to pre-sale it for 20, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. I miss you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles, but we have Tier 0 now. They listed it at $3 freaking and rocked everybody's worlds and ruined everybody's pre-order games. That's what I love about companies like Tier 0 and Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. They keep everybody honest, and that's why I'm not freaking out over the current pre-orders for Duel Overload that are on TCG Player. And when I look around also, there's Scrap Weaverin is getting forgotten about, I feel like. There's a couple motivated sellers under the 50-cent mark where you could buy all of these at a quarter from Rawls cards. I like this card because Orcust can cycle back towards the metagame when it comes towards Eternity Code, and I do think scrap variants will be a part, and I do think this card is being slept on pretty hard. So tons of penny stocks around if you're not just diving at the hype that is Duel Overload. If you're looking for other places that people haven't been looking at, there's plenty of them, especially with... I think this card's hilarious. I can't believe I took the tab down. That's my bad, though. Live editing done cheap by Jonathan Moore. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Check out my tier list versus pre-sales to kind of think, where will cards head for Duel Overload versus these pre-sales? How did my chart do, and how will it do? Because my chart is aimed at the first week and a half to 2 weeks of this set being on market. Let me know what you think, and maybe what I underestimated. Anything that's listed at $5 to $4 here is pretty much the vendor saying, I'll take anything above $1, because, you know, that's the win. A stamp, shipping fees, envelope, anything above $1 is a huge win for it. They're even putting MST up here right now. Stop freaking out over all of the pre-sales. It's gonna be a war. It's already started, and I can't wait for Tier 0 to come into the market with this as well. Thanks for watching.